Welcome everybody. Today I'm in Newark, Delaware with Simu Diane Cannon of Mingdao Tai Chi. I'm really excited. This is one interview I've wanted to do for a long time. And I'm excited to hear her answers to all my grueling questions. And I'm really looking forward to for you to get to meet Diane and see what she's all about. So stick around and I am going to grill you. Welcome everybody. I'm here with Simu Diane Cannon from Mingdao Tai Chi. Diane has been my longtime student, my disciple. She has been teaching for years, spreading the Master Leong gospel, and really, making a mark in what I consider Delaware Tai Chi. I'm really excited to introduce her to you and to ask her, some of my basic questions and also some other questions. So, Diane, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Well, it's really great having you. I've been meaning to do this for a long time, but you live in Delaware, I live in Minnesota. It's a little...
Getting our schedules to work together has been a chore, but we got it.
So, if you would, could you give us just kind of a quick idea? How did you come to Tai Chi?
Oh boy, many moons ago, back in 86, 87. I was working for DuPont in engineering, and life was kind of stressful. So I was looking for a form of meditation, something to center me and get me through. I had 2 young little children working full time, and it was tough. So I went to a conference out in Seattle, and the speaker was talking about Tai Chi masters. And we were talking about how to communicate with people and everything, and somehow he brought in Tai Chi and masters and how they work with people and discuss things and talk with things. And so, I that was my first exposure. But when I came home from that workshop, went through all my mail, there was a Tai Chi flyer in my mailbox.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I'm going, he just talked about this in Tai Chi. And then I went to the co-op to get food, and there's a Tai Chi thing for somebody teaching class. I'm like, okay, that's 3. I gotta listen. So I went to a class here in Delaware, and man, I clicked like that. Because when I was 7, my dad taught me golf. And he was saying things like, whole body, one unit. You can't do anything unless you visualize it. If you visualize it, it can happen. He was saying everything I was hearing in the class.
Wow.
And it just clicked. And life went from there. I mean, I was just sold.
Wow.
Right from then.
Wow.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
And
in your first class, like you physically went,
my
wow,
first
this
class,
is it.
I was like, this is home. This is home. And then, I'm working from home because I had 2 young kids still at home. So they would get up early in the morning, I'd put them down for their nap, I'd do my Tai Chi. And then they'd get up, they'd go back for an afternoon nap, I'd do my Tai Chi. Like, it was crazy. Those first 5 years were very intensive training for me. I loved it.
Tai Chi on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did we meet?
Well, in one of those classes, I think you came as an instructor. You came as a visiting instructor to, I think it was Crystal Center.
Okay.
The very first time in the basement there, and so you came to a couple workshops down there, and really liked your teaching style. Really connected more with your teaching style than the person I was studying with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just came out a number of times, and at some point I think I came up to you and I just asked if I could be your private student.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in Minnesota, I'm out here, and you said yes. This was maybe in '90 I finally approached you.
Okay.
As a private student, as a personal student, and you said yes. So we started training, and I worked it out. At that point I was teaching Tai Chi full time. Or no, I wasn't teaching yet. You're the one that told me to teach. So I was studying, and when you told me yes, I'll accept you as a student, you said, but I want you to start out teaching a women's class 1 day a week. And I was like, I've only been studying 3 years. Like, I didn't feel ready to start teaching. But you were like, no, I want you to start teaching. Just teach out your house, do whatever you have to do, just start. And I started, and I loved it. And I didn't think I would like the teaching part, but it challenged you so much, and you had to learn in a deeper level for sure, to be able to communicate it. Because at the time, I hated to give meetings. I hated to speak and get up and speak in front of all these, corporate America. Hated that. But when I got up and talked in class, it was like just flowed. It was home again. And I was like, oh, he's right. All right. So that's kind of when we met, and you said start teaching. That just everything just blossomed from there. And in running, and then when I started teaching more and more, I started coming out once a quarter to Minnesota for like 10 days.
Well, you remember you visited me when I was living in Ann Arbor, Michigan,
I even
to learn Chen style.
Yeah, we did Cannon Fest.
Yep.
Oh, that was so fun. I love that form. That was really fun because we went down by the river.
Yep.
In the park there. That was really fun. So I would come out like 4 times a year and just train that way, and then work on videos that I brought back.
Yep. And you would also host me to come as your quickly blossoming gigantic school. And
you came out like twice a year.
Yep.
One in the fall, summer and fall.
Yeah, and then I remember, I can't remember the exact year, but we started doing the summer retreat, the Warm Springs retreat, which brought people from Massachusetts, from all over Delaware, some Philadelphia people. It was amazing. And then we would go and visit Master
some
Leon.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was always a treat, going to visit him.
Yep. Yeah, that was fantastic.
We would do the 5-day retreat, and then we would go see him, and we'd take him out when as he could go out, we would take him out. Yeah, I still have that picture of me at the restaurant where I was working on his shoulders, and he was just like falling asleep. It was so sweet. Yeah.
No, it was great. And you used to also go up and visit him even when I wasn't out here.
Yeah, I took a group of students and my children. They even did some demo for him.
Right, your kids grew up around Master Leon, which is really pretty amazing.
Absolutely, they have tons of respect for the art and for him and for you. So, yeah, it's family. I mean, that's one thing that I've really tried to instill in the teaching of the art, because I don't want to just teach postures and forms, but I want to teach the art, and I want to share the art.
Yep. And
part of that art is the familial aspect.
Absolutely.
And so I just feel like Mingdao is very much that, very familiar, and my kids honor that and take that into consideration. They're like, I have 2 more brothers now.
I know.
So it's great.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I always felt that Master Leon was definitely the father figure I never had, and yeah. Now you also, when you had a full-time school, and you also invited Master Choi out. You came out to Minnesota for some of the Master Choi.
Oh yeah, we did the whole
seminars.
Yeah, a lot of seminars, the animal workshop, a lot of them. Yeah.
And then you also sponsored him.
Yes.
Can you tell the audience what it was like studying with Grandmaster Choi?
Intense. He's intense, but he's fun. He's very sweet and very fun, but he's very focused when he's doing a workshop. And I had students. I had not only Taiji students, but I had other students from other martial art. There was some Kempo. There was some Taekwondo, Taiji. I think that's Ishinru. Yep. Yeah. So there was a real nice mix, and he could speak to everybody, and he could teach it, and everyone just loved having him out. He was very cordial. He was fun to be around outside, going to meals, and in the evenings we had a great time. We'd sit around and we'd have tea.
Oh yeah.
Lots of tea.
Lots of
and
tea.
he stayed with one of my students down the street, Sally. Remember Sally?
Sally, yep. Sally.
Oh yeah. So I was a little nervous about that, but it worked out fine. She was good with him.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about a person with a lot of energy. Master Choi, his seminars and workshops, he brought a lot of energy. The students energized him, and it really
absolutely
high octane.
Yes. Students still talk about the time at that particular workshop where he had the biggest, strongest Kempo student punch him in the stomach and hurt his fist. He hurt his wrist punching him. He was just like, boom. And, yeah.
One of the last times he was at my school in Minneapolis, he had a private class with a couple of some of my really big students, and the same thing, Master was like, yeah, punch me in the stomach, and he's standing there and he's getting punched in the stomach, and the door to the school opens up because the students were coming in. There was a class that day. This was a private class. He's getting punched in the stomach. And they open the door, and there's these guys punching Master Choi in the stomach, and Master Choi's just standing there like, you know, it's just really, really funny. So,
They're like, what the heck?
exactly, yeah, lots and lots of energy.
He loved it though. He did. He loved it. And you could see that in his teaching, how much the joy of it came out. So,
Yeah, no, it's
and that's what I hope to
fortunate.
bring out too in teaching is the love and the joy of the art. I hope it comes across.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I see your students are, they really enjoy it, and you know, besides the knowledge and the wisdom and the familiarity, it's also fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a good time, and if you know, especially like at the retreats and stuff, we've had some huge belly laughs.
Oh yeah.
Now we've had some real burning thighs and
Absolutely.
exhaustion from Tai Chi and like working 6 to 8 hours a day, but we worked hard and we laughed hard. It was really,
Absolutely.
really
Yeah,
fun.
that balance, that yin yang. You got to play as hard as you work. You know.
Yep. Well, we sure did. It was fantastic. So learning with me and learning with other teachers and Master Liang and Master Choi, what are some of the styles that you've learned and you know
Yeah. Okay.
been exposed to? We mentioned Chen style Tai Chi. That was a long time
That was
ago.
a long time ago. Of course, our traditional Master Liang system, that complete system, and then some Bakwa, some Xingyi, praying mantis, Liu Bafa, animals mostly, the swimming dragon, the animals, of course.
A weapon or two.
All the weapons. You name it. Well, I haven't done every weapon probably that you know, but one that I wanted to get at one point was the Bagua knife
Yes.
that I never did, and I'm not going to even attempt that now.
You see, it's on Patreon.
Yeah.
It scares me looking at it.
I missed that window. That had to be pre-Lyme.
Oh. Well, if you don't want to kick and jump high and squat low and go fast, then, you know. Tai Chi knife looks a lot more accessible right now.
That's right.
Well, and Simu Diane, at one point I had a publishing company and was producing books and DVDs, and she's the demonstrator for the Tai Chi fan, which at some point, you know, with your permission, I will put that on Patreon for people
Sure.
to look at.
Absolutely.
So you know, I know it's kind of like asking you who's your favorite child or whatever, but do you have a favorite form or a favorite style, or what's your favorites?
Oh, my favorite empty hand form is by far the traditional long form.
Yep.
Absolutely, no questions asked. As soon as I started, I'm off on La La Land, so that's my form. And weapons form, it's got to be sword. Sword, no tassel, just straight sword. I just love it. It takes me to places that only that sword can take me.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my favorite.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
easy. All the forms have great effects, and I love them for different reasons, but if I could only do one form, it'd be the solo form. If I could do two, it'd be those two.
Yeah, see, it's tough. You know.
It is, because they're all fun for different reasons.
But it's also interesting to ask people that to find out why is it your favorite, or what is your favorite, or you know.
I think it has to do, for me, it has to do with, I think it's personal with every body, not every person, but every particular body relates to or is stimulated by and heals. And those forms are very healing for me. I still feel that.
On one level, I really don't care if people don't want to study Tai Chi with me. As long as they want to study Tai Chi, they're studying, I'm happy. Or I don't care what martial art, it doesn't have to be Tai Chi, that's just my personal love. I just really believed everybody, especially in the modern world, should do a martial art for all the good reasons, you know. Health, self-defense, some philosophy, history, morality, discipline. It's got a lot of good stuff going.
Absolutely.
You know, as long as you do something, I'm happy. But you know, we are obviously
Great.
particular to Yang style Tai Chi. It's just very accessible.
Yes.
So what's your daily practice look like? So when you have all the free time in the world, or you can do anything you want, or you know, you're not under any time crunch, what does a practice session look like for you by yourself?
You know, my daily practice is different every day because of my body still healing. Before that, oh gosh, I would probably practice 2-3 hours a day and run through everything I knew. I can't do that now. So I always start out with breath work, qigong, and, you know, some kind of meditation. That's a given in the morning, in the day. And then after that, I'll do a solo form. And if I am not able to do the whole solo form, I do what I can. And so then I practice pieces. I'll take a break, and 2 hours, 3 hours later, whatever in the day, I come back and I'll practice postures. I'll do posture training, or I'll do a group of posture training. Like with the fast form, I'll do pieces of the fast form. And weapons forms, I'll train certain things, and then the next day maybe I can do the whole weapons form. So my training, I have to really listen to my body and push it a little bit, but not too much. And it's really hard with that line because I want to do it all. And I want to do the whole thing. And I've really learned over the years in this healing journey that I really have to pay attention, I have to listen. So if I can only do maybe an hour of training that day, then I do more reading, I do more study, I watch videos. So I'm always doing Tai Chi, and when you watch videos, you're breathing with the video.
Yep.
You're doing so I feel like I'm training in different ways now than I used to. And it was very humbling to accept that, because it was very hard for me. You know how I was. I just, I want to do it all. I want to train it all. I love it. But I had to accept that that's different now. And my body has come such a long way. When I first started, walking again, I could do very little. And I kind of channeled Master Leon. I was like, is this what he felt like, doing 2 postures and having to sit down?
Yeah.
Then he did 4 and he had to sit down. And it's very humbling. And I feel like I could connect to him in that time of his life.
So a couple things for my audience. So number one, what you were saying about watching videos and you get that connection. Master Leon said read Tai Chi books, because as soon as you read it, you get back into your Tai Chi body.
Absolutely.
And Diane is referencing when Master Leon was sick and first doing Tai Chi, he would go to Professor Zheng Manqing's house. He would learn 1 or 2 postures. He'd do them for a couple minutes and have to sit down. And sometimes he would sit down for the whole rest of the class. And it took him year after year to gain to learn the form. It was the short form, and also to regain his health. Now, you mentioned it, so I'm going to feel free to share this with my audience. Diane, a few years ago, got Lyme's disease. I can only tell you how happy and proud of you I am. When I saw you when you were really sick, she was basically bedridden. She couldn't do anything. I thought maybe she wasn't going to be around. And I remember the first time she said, "Hey, it's a great day. I've done the first section," and literally to watch you build back with Tai Chi. What a great journey, because you could measure your health and your endurance by how much of the long form, and then maybe do a sword form. And at that time, you weren't even teaching. I mean, on one level, when I think of how you were just a few years back, and now you're back, I consider you're back, and you're teaching. You're vital with Tai Chi. It is truly, thanks to Tai Chi, thanks to your healing mojo, and also thanks to your warrior spirit. A lot of people would have given up. I know a person who went from 3 hours a day practicing, and I remember there was no forms, there was nothing you couldn't do, to I remember seeing you bedridden on the couch, because I came out for a seminar, and literally she couldn't move. And I thought, oh my God, is she going to pass away? Knock on wood, she didn't. And then, it was so great. So, it's kind of fun when a beginner goes, "Hey, I finished the first section," and that's wonderful. And then when you said, "Hey, I finished the first section," I was like, wow. So,
I cried.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, with your healing journey, where are you at now?
Where am I at now?
Yeah, with your healing journey. Besides me saying how great you're doing.
Yeah. What I've found I have to do is, I can't think of, gosh, in 2010 I used to be able to do XYZ. I can't go back to that pre-Lyme body and pre-Lyme student and player of Taiji. I have to go back last week and the week or the week before. I have to give myself, okay, last week I could only do this. This week I can do this. So I found I have to be more gentle with myself and my healing, and and when I do that, I make more progress.
Excellent.
Because if I go back and go, gosh, this sword just doesn't feel like it used to before,
Right,
then
compare
all
yourself
the
before
negative
pre-
thinking starts going in,
Yep.
and I start spiraling down, and I'm
Yep.
like, no. So I have to use that, stay in the present. Think about what was yesterday like. Okay, yesterday we had a great, it's 5-6 hours of things, of meditation, and I'm really focusing on the energetic aspects of Taiji and the chi development, as opposed to, it's not all about the physical, although that's important, but that's where I feel that inner strength come when I focus on that chi development.
And I remember before the pre-Lyme that also you and your husband Don were avid hikers, campers. I mean, you guys were outdoors people, Taiji people. I mean, so to go from that to bedridden to where you're at now, I mean, it's when we look at the big picture, yeah. But I understand that you don't want to compare now to that pre.
Right.
And if that's giving you better progress, I mean, that's a wonderful lesson.
Mm-hmm. It has. It was a curse and a blessing at the same time. It was really hard to go through and experience that, 2 years of not being able to do anything, and being in the wheelchair was like, ooh, I really had to suck that up, sit and get in that chair.
Yeah, because you were young.
That was hard, but and that was probably some of the fire that got me out. But the other thing I have to give credit to Taiji for with that healing is that all those years from '87 to 2012, I was doing natural medicine, supplements, herbs, and Taiji. No antibiotics, no medicine, no Western medicine. So when I had the Lyme, although I still continued with the herbs and supplements, I had to take a lot of antibiotics. And I feel like that journey, being, with natural medicine and Taiji and Shiatsu and doing all those kind of modalities that strengthened your inner core and your body, helped me be able to get through all those antibiotics and drugs that were hard on the liver and the kidneys, and I never stayed up the whole time. I never dropped down and never went south. So everything maintained, which gave me that strength to. So I have to credit Taiji and that journey of doing natural medicine prior to, because I think it saved me. I hear so many people that have Lyme disease, babesiosis, Bartonella, and they're taking antibiotics and their liver fails, their kidney fails, all these things start failing because of the drugs you need to take to kill them. So, and then I found another person that has a different way of approaching Lyme, with celery juice and doing heavy metal detox smoothies, and I still do that today, and that's been invaluable. So daily celery juice in the morning and heavy metal detox smoothie, I'm good to go. And then my diet has changed a lot. So it's a big change, but a welcome change.
All those deposits you made in the Taiji Bank and the Health
Exactly.
Bank, Healthy
I
Living.
drew on them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. I mean, you think of all the different, Master Leon had cirrhosis of the liver, and the professor had tuberculosis, and there are so many stories of people healing themselves with Taiji or assisting the healing process with Taiji. It's
Exactly.
just it's truly incredible. One thing I wanted to have you share with my audience is being a woman in martial arts, being a female teacher in martial arts, because I don't think people realize that it is a totally different challenge. That there's some things that you've had to come up against and have done very well, and it's like I wonder, the crazy question is how easy is it to be a woman in martial arts?
That's a tough question, because I've never been a man, so I don't know what the difference is. I mean, I haven't found a lot of roadblocks.
You haven't had people question your ability because you're a woman, or martial art ability, or?
I think of all the years, there's been one person that has done that. And I don't feel like, as an instructor, I don't feel a need to prove myself. The art speaks for itself in that regard. I think I've had one person challenge that, and challenge you at the same time, which, you know, I'm old school. I'm all about, in martial arts, if there's no respect, then it's the wrong school.
Right.
And so, and that's just how I had to handle it. I just had to say, look, I don't think this is the school for you, or I'm the teacher for you. And I gave him some options of people out there that he could go and study with. And I think that was the best thing for him and for the school, because you don't want someone disrupting your other students.
The reason I ask is I've had some other female instructors tell me that they've had some problems with students questioning their right or ability to teach any kind of martial art because they're a woman. So I was wondering
I haven't had that.
if you had that.
Just that one person, that was many years ago. But really, I haven't had that. And I think there's a certain vibe in our school, and I have longtime students back from, mid to late 90s that are still with me, and when they see the respect they have for the school, for the art, and for me, I don't get any questions.
No, I'm super happy to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really encouraging more women to get out there and teach.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And if you get an occasional lunkhead, well, that's what Tai Chi Sword is for.
That's what the door's for. I mean, I would love to welcome everyone, and I do.
Yeah.
But if it's someone that you're just not the right teacher for, you have to have the humility to say, I'm not the right person for you.
Yeah.
And give, send them to other people. And I have no problem with that. If they don't, if they're not going to relate to a female instructor, I want them to be able to get the art. And if
Yes.
they can't get the art from me, then
If they can't get past the gender thing, how are they going to get the art?
right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think my students have ever thought about or questioned that. The ones right now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't tell the horror stories. I'm listening to your wonderful stories.
Sorry.
Yeah, that question didn't come out of nowhere. But I'm really happy with your answers, so that makes me even, a little more fun.
Yeah.
Well, so as you know, this is my social media platform, and I've been teaching on Zoom, and with the pandemic and the lockdown, I had to learn a lot about things and learn about Zoom and stuff. So I am really curious to get your opinion on what do you think of, or here's my question. What do you see as the strong points and weak points of teaching or learning on Zoom?
Okay. Let's do learning on Zoom first. I've trained that for a long time because we were distant.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily Zoom, but it was video. So I had to train a lot. I mean, I'd come out and get it, but then I'd have to come back and look at the video. So training on Zoom, for me, you can really learn how to pick out the details. You can go back and forth. You can always I missed that part. What did he just do there? So it's nice because you can do the rewind, just like watching a football game or something on TV is better than being there because you can see the replays, right?
Yeah.
So I can replay you and forms. So that I've kind of trained my eye to learn through video and Zoom, and I feel like I'm pretty good at that. As far as teaching on Zoom, I've had some distant students, all the way from Kauai to Virginia to wherever that I work with, and I find that some things are easy and some things are really difficult to show properly.
Like what?
When you are with a student, you can help them adjust their technique better. You can help them adjust their positions better.
Hands-on.
Hands-on. And you make that connection. You have that one-on-one personal, I'm here. You have that, I don't know, in person's always better, in my opinion, right? You have that connection. On the Zoom, you don't have that connection, for me anyway, because I'm old school, I think, in that regard. When I teach on Zoom, it's fun, we can get the point across, but I'm done the Zoom, and it's like, I miss being with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I just want to be with them and teach them certain things that I can't do. So conversation is good. You can say, foot at a 45, this angle's this is that, but you can't see it well to correct it. And that's my point, is you can't always see the angles well. So at some point, I feel like if you have a student that is a Zoom student or a distant student, at some point, once a year, connect. That would be my suggestion. Just once a year, come together in person, if you can. And you get that.
Kind of like you're talking about, you know, learning from videotape and learning from Zoom. If you've had the in-person experience, I think you can get a lot more.
Absolutely.
But but it can never really, it can't replace it.
No. But it can be a great tool.
Yes.
And you can reach more people. Like, how could I continue working with someone in Kauai if I didn't have that?
Right.
I couldn't. So.
And I like, you know, I like your idea. I agree with you. Like some kind of in-person checking in, and I never realized how much intuitive teaching I do in person.
Right.
Just like, you know, like out of the corner of my eye or whatever. The one thing I find with Zoom is, as I teach and as they learn, we have to look. We can't not look at the screen or the camera. Whereas in class, there's a lot of, you know, out of the corner of your eye, catch a glimpse here, there's that feeling. You know, I find that like you, like the veterans can get more off of Zoom. And then the new people, which is the challenge for us as teachers, if it's a new person hasn't had that in-person experience, what do I need to do with that Zoom?
Right.
You know.
Exactly. And I think encouraging them to do something in person, even if it's once a year, is a really good idea.
I'm experimenting now with Zoom pushing hands. So you have to come with your partner. And, you know, I do a lot of hands-on correcting, pushing hands from the outside with people.
Right, exactly.
But, so I don't have that, like you're saying, I can't do that. But I'm really studying and seeing what they can and can't get, and I'm really encouraged. Because I might not be able to do anything, but I can tell their partner, hey, push them a little bit more like that.
Right.
And they're gonna get that physical feedback.
Yeah.
So the one, I'm gonna wait till next year, but I'm gonna attempt teaching a Taiji weapon on Zoom.
I think it's great. Where I find it's more challenging is if you have someone that learns kinesthetically. Because they can't feel you.
Yeah.
You can't do it with them. And sometimes you have a student and they're not getting it, and then you do it with them and they go, oh, because that's their learning, that's their main learning style. So, you know, every now and then you'll come across that, and that's a little bit of a challenge.
The other thing I've noticed is I can't have any dead space. In a physical class, I can say, ready, let's go, and you follow, and there's all that feedback. But when there's just a screen, I find that the more verbal clues I give, the more engaged people will stay. So, and I asked the students. A lot of my students gave me really good feedback, and I said, you know, do you want me to count every time? They're like, yes. And then that way I can turn my eye off the screen, and you really can't follow, because you can't follow and look at that one dimension right there.
Exactly. I think you, as a teacher, you have to adjust your teaching style a little bit when it's like that, for sure.
And I hope you can tell, I'm actually excited for the possibilities that Zoom has for adding to my teaching.
Yeah.
It's like another couple tools I can put in my toolbox, and you know, if I can reach more people.
Absolutely.
And, you know, but I'm gonna leave the Taiji topic for a while here, and I'm gonna ask you a crazy question.
What's that?
I'll preface this.
Okay.
If Master Leon were to come here, like pop down out of a cloud and sit right there, I have like burning questions I wish I asked him while he was alive, and now that he's not, I can ask him in the spirit world, I can't ask him physically. So one of my favorite questions that I would ask Master Leon, I actually ask everybody, and that's this: what is your happiest memory? It's an easy one.
It is?
Yeah.
You think it's easy?
No,
I don't.
not at all. Not at all.
Because there's so many happy memories. I don't know.
You could pick a couple.
I think I'm gonna need to, because qualifying a happiest, I don't know that I can say there's one that's the happiest. I've had so much joy, and I have embraced more joy in the last 5 or 6 years, I think, than ever. So, I mean, obviously, you know, having my 2 children was amazing. You know, that's just such a joyful time in your life, holding them and loving them, and seeing them blossom into the adults they are right now. Such joy.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So, I mean, that's an ongoing happy memory.
Yes.
You can see the tears in my eyes.
Yeah,
just
happy memory. Let's keep going.
Oh, I just love those kids, you know. So seeing that, and then Ian coming into my life through Don, and Don coming into my life, obviously, is wonderful. The joy of seeing the school blossom and touching that many lives with Taiji, just fills my heart. It's just awesome. When you accepted me as a personal disciple, and we came out and did that, that was, I mean, when was that? It was like 05.
It was
a long time ago.
It was a while ago.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, Master Choi hadn't retired. He was still actively teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a joyful time.
Yeah.
So there's just so many. I don't know that I could pick one. Some experiences that we had at the retreats where we just everybody was just coming together with the same like intention and joy, and we had so much fun. Those are very joyful memories for me.
Yeah.
Very joyful memories.
Yeah, we definitely shared Taiji and touched people's lives, and
I mean, at this point in my life, I've been involved in Taiji more than I haven't been in my life.
Yes.
I've been practicing Taiji and been around with my Taiji family more than I haven't.
Yes.
More years than I haven't. So it's such a huge part of my life. You know what another one is? I have to say. Another
Another
happy memory.
As many happy memories as
I have to. Master Leon's 100th birthday party.
Oh my gosh.
That was just so fun to see and to be with him for that. And my whole family was there too.
Yep.
Many students were there. Many teachers were there that we've all worked with. And it was just such a joyful day. And to see him blow out 100 candles in one breath, he just was like, and there it went. And we were just all stunned. But it was such a great time. And anytime we went to see him, I mean, he always wanted to teach. But that was just a great day. That's just a day that...
I agree. I've actually got a clip of that all cut and edited. I'm going to put that on my Patreon page at some point.
Excellent.
Counting out the candles, lighting it, and just to see how
We
effortlessly.
thought the fire alarms were going to go off. Remember the smoke detectors?
And and the joy in his face. I mean, he really, the guy was on his deathbed at age 45 and made to 102 and vital right to the end. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Just vital.
Clarity of mind.
Clarity.
Absolutely.
And teasing and joking
Teasing,
right away.
Mental push hands.
Yep.
He was doing mental push hands.
Mental push hands master.
Yes. Unbelievable. Yeah, we were watching some videos of him yesterday at the school, and one of the interviews where he was just playing mental pushing hands with that woman. The poor thing. He was so good.
She did not stand a chance.
You know, right?
No, it's just kind of funny. I mean, he's in our lives, like all the people that he touched, and that's also why, back to you, when you wanted to be a student, I said you had to teach, because Master Liang's idea was we all need to be out there teaching, and we might not be a master, but if I have doing Taiji every day for 3 years, I'm a master of class number 1. of what anybody can get out of class number one, I've mastered that material. I might not have mastered the form or the sword or whatever, but we all have enough Tai Chi that we can get somebody started. Or to go seek a higher level teacher, great. To get everybody on the path of relaxing and sinking and centering and we know we need it. The society and everything's so tense, and we're like relaxation ambassadors. And Master Liang was, one thing he taught was how to teach, which is something you and I have worked on. And again, talking about teaching on Zoom, that's part of our craft,
Right.
not only about just doing Tai Chi. I mean, the lowest level is, just follow me. No, I gotta be able to explain and do that. Master Liang was really interested in not only teaching you Tai Chi, but teaching you how to teach Tai Chi. And he would give you he'd say, would you work with this person today? They need to learn Repulse Monkey. And then at the end of class, he'd come by, he'd watch that person do Repulse the Monkey. He'd give them a correction, and then he'd give you a correction. He'd say, you didn't get this across, or you could have done this better. I had no clue. I had no clue about the craft of teaching and learning. He helped me be a better learner by seeing how he taught. And I really feel that's the strong point within our school and our lineage.
Absolutely. Like the teachers that I had prior to you, and then you, and then having some time with Master Liang, Master Choi, Master Wan Yin Yin, he was awesome. When I was doing the Mishram form with him, he was very joyful. He was pleasant. He was very sweet. But the communication was tough because he had a translator. So you were working with that translator, which she was great, but it's very different communication, right? Different communication skills. And I think that's something that you've mastered with your teaching, is your ability to get the information across and how to express it. And I value that.
The I Ching says if it's simply taught, it's simply learned. So, we could go on and on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We could go on and on.
And let's go on and on. Let's continue going on and on.
And we shall. But for my podcast, I've got one more little simple question I'd like to ask you.
Okay. Oh jeez. You never have simple questions.
Well, But okay, here's my setup. All right, Diane, you've got your magic crystal ball. You look in your magic crystal ball. What do you see?
What do I see? I don't know what I see, but I know what I hope for. How about that?
There's no wrong answers in my
What
on my podcast. There's no wrong answers.
Yeah, what I hope and I pray for, and something that I really want to challenge my students to, is to open up your eyes, your ears, your heart, your spirit, to really try to reach your full potential, not just in Tai Chi, but in life, and really find and focus on what's important. For me, that's love, that's community, that's family, that's the human experience. So if I could see something in a crystal ball, I'd want to see a world with humans reaching that full potential, even if their vibration, ascending to a higher consciousness, and just living together in harmony. And that's my prayer for this world right now, is to let go of all that noise and really come down to what's important, and focus on that, and really just project love and light, and try to connect.
Beautiful. I hope it comes true.
It will.
Thank you.
I'm declaring it now.
Excellent. Just a matter of press send.
That's it. Press
Okay.
send.
Wonderful. Well, this has been really enjoyable. Again, I've known you for many years, and we've taught together and practiced together. But it's something about these podcasts I always get to learn, like some little pieces about, my guests and my the people I'm grilling on the hot seat. So I just get so much from it. It's just been wonderful. If you, I'm gonna put a link in the description to Simu Diane's website And if you'd like to get in touch with her, if you're in the Delaware area, or for whatever reason you want to get in touch with her, I'll make that connection for you.
Excellent.
And I'm hoping that I can do this again. So
Sure.
I'll have another set of questions for you. And you put on the tea, very delicious tea, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're in good company, because I've had tea with Ken Cohen.
All right.
And so, and Paul Gallagher, and now I've had tea with Simu Diane Cannon in Newark, Delaware. It's just been wonderful. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate all, the kind words, the comments, the subscriptions, the subscribers. I'm marching on, and really enjoying this, and I've got a bunch of other interviews I'm going to do this year, and as well as some of my lessons. So stay tuned, and until then, if you practice Tai Chi, I hope you practice a lot, and if you don't practice Tai Chi, go try it out. Thank you.